The kingdom of Abraxan is under siege by the Dreadite army, which cuts their path with death and destruction throughout the land. There's no one to stop their advance. One injured soldier sees a fallen comrade obliterated by Dreadites. A Dreadite comes to finish him, but they see someone coming. The Dreadites go to attack the mysterious man, but he alone finishes them off. He then comes towards a man and holds his hand, but he starts to take his ring and a golden amulet. The soldiers try to warn him not to take it, but before he can finish his sentence, he dies. The man then goes to meet at a tavern in a nearby village, where a bunch of peasants are talking about how soldiers take all of their crops for the war, yet they are losing the war. At this rate, they won't survive the winter. They should become scavengers like this man, showing the mysterious man. He tries to curse at him, but the old man stops him. He says the man has suffered a lot. He was a knight in the Queen's army, long before Dreadites attack. He is the sole survivor of the massacre by Grimvault. The man is surprised as he heard no one survive that. The man is checking out the amulet, and its eyes turn red. The old man continues. Now, the man walks in a realm without any banner or master. He has a new name, Deathstalker. Suddenly, a two-headed troll burst into the tavern. The troll demands that he hand over the amulet. Deathstalker gives 2 coins to the owner, one for food and one for a chair. He then smashes a chair at it and runs away from there. The troll comes outside and looks for him. He tries a sneak attack, but it sees him with its 2 heads. A fight starts, and he notices a strange symbol on it. The troll grabs his sword and breaks it in half, throwing him away. Deathstalker tries to leave, but holds his leg with a rope and pulls him. He shows the amulet to him, and it tries to grab it when he grasps the broken sword and pushes it into one of the heads. Deathstalker runs from there with his horse. The remaining head of the troll curses him, saying that every assassin will be after him now. Deathstalker again comes and throws the remaining sword at it. In his path, Deathstalker feels the amulet isn't worth its trouble and throws it into the pond. But soon he sees that it's back in his pocket. He tries a few more times, but the result remains the same. He understands that he is now bound by it. He then goes to meet with a witch. He shows her the amulet and asks her to unbind it. She says it will only be unbound with his death. But there is a way. She asks him to take out the map and a symbol. Deathstalker has to give his blood, and the witch does his magic. She says there is an old wizard who knows the ancient language, and he can help. The symbol in the map starts to move and shows a place where it's written bad, do not go. Deathstalker is ready to leave when the witch warns him that a great evil is rising. He arrives at the place the witch had shown him. The moons have risen. He enters a cave system and sees a bunch of dead bodies there. Someone from a box asks for his help. He takes a sword from there. He looks around and finds the key. When he grabs it, the dead body goes underground. He is about to open the box when suddenly man-eating serpents come out of there. He climbs onto a rock and unlocks the box. A wizard comes out of the box. Deathstalker asks about his identity. He reveals that he is the one he has been looking for, and people call him Doodad. Deathstalker cuts some serpents and takes Doodad on his back. He throws him out, and they get out. Doodad thanks him for saving his life. Suddenly, a serpent attacks Deathstalker from behind. Doodad tries to help with his magic, but his aim is bad, and he keeps hitting Deathstalker. He manages to finish it himself. They are sitting around the fire, and Doodad is examining the amulet. He says it is from an ancient empire. The record of that time has vanished, but there's an old wizard named Zodon who knows their language. But unfortunately, he is dead. So they must go to his crypt, which should be filled with old scrolls. From there, he can deduce the writing of amulet. In the morning, they start their journey. When Deathstalker remembers a sign he saw on the troll and shows it to Doodad. Seeing it, he says that it's a sign of the sect of Cider. It was an ancient cult of sorcerers who practices dark magic. Their leader, Necromemnon, was defeated and all their record were destroyed, but it seems like they have come back. Some believe the Dreadite was created by the sect of Cider. They continue their journey, and an evil bird is keeping an eye on them. After a few minutes, Deathstalker sees that the amulet's eyes are glowing red. Doodad says someone is approaching, so they should hide. A man on a horse that comes there and takes out some rocks, throwing them to the ground. A bunch of Dreadites emerge. He orders them to search the place. Trying to flee Deathstalker makes a sound, and Dreadite runs behind them. Running, they hide behind a rock. Doodad takes out a rock and performs a magic ritual. A wraith emerges, but it can't find its path and makes sounds around them. Deathstalker tries to shut it up, but Dreadites has already discovered them. The horseman comes out and takes off his mask. It turns out Deathstalker's old friend, Jotak. He calls him by his old name, Tritus. In the fight of Grimvault, they were ordered to stop the warlocks who were performing dark magic. Jotak fell into their enchantments, so Deathstalker was forced to kill him. But he has come back with Necromemnon's magic. Now he needs the amulet. Jotak stops the Dreadite and personally faces off with him. The sword fight starts, and they are both on equal terms. But soon Jotak gets hold of him and throws him to the ground. He is about to strike the final blow, but Deathstalker defends him and cuts his hand. He takes Jotak's sword and throws his old sword to Dreadite and runs away from there with Doodad. As the rest of the Dreadites searches for them, they hide. Doodad says if Necromemnon has really returned, they are all in grave danger. Their meeting may be a mechanism of God. They must find out the secret of the amulet. They resume their journey towards the crypt. At night, they arrive at the crypt and see Necromemnon's minions doing something there. They hide behind a bunch of dead bodies, which an henchman is taking inside. Deathstalker says it was a bad idea and gets into an argument with Doodad, who points out that it's his idea. Suddenly, a woman tells them to shut up. She says they are not the only ones trying to sneak in. They see with dead bodies the minions are doing some kind of rituals to create a Dreadite soldier. They understand that's how they make them. Suddenly, they see a guard, and the path to the crypt is clear. Doodad, seeing the opportunity, goes inside the crypt, and the woman follows him while Deathstalker stands guard. The woman grabs some jewelry, while Doodad tries to open the crypt. The woman helps him move it. Doodad goes inside and searches for a scroll among the many scrolls present there. Outside, a guard finds Deathstalker and starts beating him up. The woman finds a flute while searching for jewelry. She tells Doodad to hurry up. Suddenly, a faceless monster comes into the room. She takes out his weapon to fight it, but some ropes come out of its hands and grab the woman. Outside, Deathstalker beats up the guard and finishes him off. He then goes to aid others. Doodad is still searching for the scroll and finally finds it. Suddenly, from the dead body of the monster, a face comes out. It's actually Necromemnon talking from his castle. He says they can't run away from him. They will hunt him down at the end of the realm. The woman has found a way and leads others through it. They come out of the tunnel. They hide in moaning woods where trees scream continuously. There, Doodad reads the scroll, and the woman plays the flute. Deathstalker thanks her for the help and asks her name. She says her name is Brisbane, and she is just a simple thief. But they didn't need to worry. She won't steal from them. At night, everyone falls asleep. When Deathstalker wakes up and sees that the amulet is glowing, he comes out searching for the danger. A stone titan is behind him. He changes his face and attacks with his glowing eyes. Deathstalker avoids its attack. It changes back into its face and attacks him with a hammer. Brisbane comes to help, and the titan attacks her as well. It again changes its face to attack, but Brisbane grabs its eyes and takes it out. She falls to the ground, and the titan attempts to stomp her. Deathstalker attacks it from behind. A green liquid comes out, and he takes off its back lid. The titan breaks into pieces. Brisbane grabs its eyes for herself. In Necromemnon's castle, injured Jotak is suffering. Necromemnon's minions take something from his body and push it inside Jotak's injured hand. A new hand grows from there that Jotak can't control. Necromemnon says that if he has strength, it will obey him. Soon, he takes control of his hand, and a bone sword comes out of it. In the morning, while Doodad sleeps, Deathstalker and Brisbane are walking, and behind them, two mountain rocks are fighting. She asks about his friend, but he says Doodad isn't his friend. He is just helping him to lift the curse. She says she knows people like him who won't let anyone close to them. He asks her if she is a member of the Thieves Guild. She says she is no longer a member. While walking, they arrive at the battle camp, but see that all the soldiers are dead. Doodad tries to find food when Flying Weapon attacks them. They hide, avoiding it. It's assassins named Scarabus who are looking for the amulet. They are hiding, but it can see them with its special eye. It throws its blade through them, but Deathstalker, with his sword, pushes it into the ground. Brisbane tries to attack the Scarabus from behind, and they engage in a fight. But the Scarabus has teleportation power and vanishes from there. It emerges in front of Deathstalker and attacks him. It throws the blade at him, but Doodad stops it with his magic. He is so joyful with his magic that he made a mistake, and the blade nicks Deathstalker. But he gets up and runs from it. Scarabus teleports again and comes in front of him. It attacks him with the blade, but he grabs the chain. He cuts the chain with his sword. Scarabus teleports from there. When he is about to teleport to another place, he throws the blade at him and finishes him off. Brisbane arrives and informs them that the thing can teleport. At night, Doodad deciphers the amulet with the scroll. Brisbane helps with Deathstalker's wounds, and they get a bit too close to each other. Doodad is finally able to decipher it. He unbinds the amulet from Deathstalker. Deathstalker is very joyful with the news and thanks him. Doodad says the amulet has Talon's prophecy. He reads it. There were two supreme beings. One was Talon, the Wizard of Light, and another was Cider, the Witch Lord of the Darkness. They wage war with each other using the mortal. But Cider starts to become too powerful. So Talon creates a weapon so powerful that only a person who walked between death and life can wield it. The weapon is hidden inside the amulet and passed through generations until everyone forgets its purpose. Deathstalker asks what the weapon is. He says it's unlike any weapon. It's called Light of Talon. Deathstalker, seeing its glimpse, says it's the perfect sword. Doodad says one day a warrior will come who can wield its 4 blades to extinguish the 4 hearts of evil, saving the kingdom from never-ending darkness. The next morning, they wake up and see that Brisbane is missing, along with the amulet. Soon, a group of thieves surrounded them. Deathstalker thinks about fighting them, but Doodad says there are too many. They are taking them through the dead swamp, and Doodad says it's a dangerous place. He heard rumors that diseased men who were cast from their village are absorbed by the earth and become vengeful spirits. They say they have forgotten the joys of music or the comfort of a brotherly hug. They take them in front of the thief, Queen Grendel, where Brisbane is enjoying herself. Grendel says that Brisbane has proven her worth by bringing the most valuable item in the realm to them. Deathstalker mockingly asks if they brought them there for a share. She snaps back and says she is generous, who follows rules and shares wealth, like Brisbane, who just marked by their symbol. They all clap for her, and Grendel says she is now one of them. She tells Deathstalker that she warned him that there would be a price if he didn't share his price of the bounty. Deathstalker says he remembers but didn't care. Grendel orders his men to finish them off. They have to meet with Prince Baldur at Grim Vault. She says the prince will give them a handsome amount of money for the return of the amulet and throws an apple into the swamps. They are about to fire arrows when Brisbane asks them to stop. She says she should just leave them with a warning. But Grendel shuts her up. They are about to shoot when the swamp monsters come out and attack them. The whole place becomes chaos, and Brisbane's flute falls on the ground. The monsters start destroying the thieves. Grendel, with her archers, goes to fight them. Deathstalker asks Doodad to untie him. Grendel orders Archer to shoot, but the monster engulfs the arrows. It brings it back from its body and shoots at the archer. Grendel tries to run, but it shoots arrows at her. Deathstalker, now free, grabs the amulet from Grendel, but she is still alive and tries to attack him. But the monster holds her head and takes it out. Deathstalker grabs his sword and goes to fight the monster. But suddenly it stops as Doodad is playing the flute of Brisbane. All the monsters stop their attack and listen to the music. Deathstalker remembers they have forgotten the joys of music, and Doodad reminds him they have also forgotten brotherly hugs. Reluctantly, Deathstalker hugs the monster. He starts to feel good while hugging. Doodad says now they can leave. They leave from there, and the monster waves them goodbye. Deathstalker and Doodad are running towards Grim Vault to take the reward from the prince. The Prince Baldur is waiting for Grendel with his soldiers when Deathstalker and Doodad arrive there. He shows the amulet to the prince and says they want their reward. Baldur recognizes Deathstalker and says that his mother speaks highly of him. She thinks he is the most handsome traitorous parasite. He then asks for the amulet. Deathstalker asks for money, and they throw him a bag. But it's not enough, so they throw another. Deathstalker throws the amulet at the prince. But while checking the money, he sees it's just rocks. The prince laughs and says that he has no intention of paying him. He throws the amulet and says that his mother will be happy when he brings the head of the most notorious thief. Deathstalker throws the rocks at the prince, who orders his soldiers to attack them. Suddenly, the flying eye monster throws some rocks between them, and the Dreadite soldiers emerge. The soldiers and Dreadite fight, but the soldiers are beaten easily. The flying monster attacks Deathstalker, so Doodad with his magic attack it. They are fleeing from there when they encounter Jotak, standing sadly with the dying monster. Deathstalker tells him that he can't give back his sword. Jotak says he can keep it. True power comes from inside. Deathstalker also throws his sword and goes to fight with Jotak with his bare hands. They give each other a tough fight, hitting each other with some strong blows. They are holding each other when the bone sword comes out from Jotak's hand, injuring Deathstalker. Jotak laughs when Brisbane attacks him from behind. She apologizes to them for earlier when Jotak grabs her by the throat. She then takes out the Eye of the Titan, and with its power, Jotak gets blinded. Doodad gives Deathstalker his sword. He tries to attack Jotak, but he grabs the sword and pushes his bone sword through Deathstalker's heart. He falls dead there. Others are deceived seeing this. Jotak laughs with joy, and Dreadite soldiers come to take them away. Later, Dreadite soldiers bring the prince to Jotak. He asks for the amulet. The prince gives it to him and says that now he should free him. But Jotak pushes his sword into his mouth. Jotak says they will ride Necromemnon's castle to victory. In the morning, the swamp monster grabs dead Deathstalker and takes him to their place. The monster takes out roots from its body into Deathstalker's heart and fixes it. Deathstalker comes back to life. Deathstalker sees the swamp monster around him, and they have brought him back alive. Deathstalker says now he is seeing things more clearly. He needs help from his friend, but they are already ahead of him. How will he get there in time? When he sees that the wraith created by Doodad is coming his way, and he understands. At Necromemnon's castle, Dreadites bring Brisbane and Doodad. Necromemnon tells them to bind the wizard and bring Brisbane to him. He tells her that it's her destiny to serve them eternally. Jotak gives the amulet to Necromemnon. He then takes out a liquid and asks Brisbane to drink. She refuses, so Jotak grabs her and forces her to drink it. She falls sick on the ground. Necromemnon, holding the amulet, says the person who walks between death and life can take the weapon from it and will cause their demise. But not anymore. He says the Abraxan Empire will fall tonight and darkness will rule the world. They laugh with joy when they suddenly see that Deathstalker is coming there, grabbing the wraith. He lands on the ground. Dreadites attack him, but he takes them all out single-handedly. He then frees Doodad and tells him what happened to him. They see Brisbane struggling and try to help. Jotak comes in front. They start a fight. Doodad goes to Necromemnon. He calls a weak wizard nothing compared to his power. They both conjure skeletons, and they start fighting. Deathstalker and Jotak are still fighting and take out their bone sword to fight. He tries to push into Deathstalker, but he grabs it and breaks it. He then takes out Dreadite rocks and pushes them inside Jotak's mouth. A Dreadite comes out of his body. He also takes it out. The skeletons also vanished, fighting each other. Doodad throws his magic towards Necromemnon, but misses. Necromemnon laughs, saying that his aim has not improved yet. But it hit the rock, and it fell on Necromemnon. Something starts coming out of Brisbane's mouth. The demon Cider comes out of her. Necromemnon is happy seeing his master. Cider does his magic, and a skeleton monster emerges. They start to eat Necromemnon's face. Doodad says now it's over. The darkness will engulf them. But Deathstalker goes to the cauldron where Necromemnon threw the amulet. He puts his hand into it, and the perfect sword Light of Talon comes out. Cider goes towards him, and, with his magic, brings out the skeleton monster. But Deathstalker finishes them with his sword. He then attacks Cider, but he grabs Deathstalker. Doodad, using his magic, hits Cider. Deathstalker strikes him with his sword. He can see his heart. He takes out one of the blades from the sword and strikes its 3 hearts. Cider vanishes from the world. They then go towards Brisbane. She comes back to life. Doodad asks how he managed to know it had 3 hearts. He says he recognized by the 3 moon symbol found on the troll. In the morning, Deathstalker puts back the blade. He gives the flute back to Brisbane. Doodad says he saved the kingdom. He can now become king of their kingdom. Deathstalker says it's a perfect sword, but it should not dictate their fate. He asks Doodad to destroy it. He then tries to destroy it with his magic, but he keeps hitting Deathstalker. They argue with each other, and Brisbane laughs at them. You were watching the recap of the 2025 movie Deathstalker. If you enjoyed the video, stay subscribed to the channel. Until the next upload, you may enjoy this.